Hey guys, I'm Adam. Welcome to the Vintage Sanctuary. Yes, I am down here on the floor because I'm getting ready to turn my camera around in a little bit. And I would like to talk to you today about the Yankees clinching the American League pennant in 1951. And read some to you out of this book, Reynolds, Ratchey, and Lopat, The Big Three, and the great Yankee Dynasty of 1949 to 1953. Now, a lot of people tend to think, no big deal that the Yankees won 5 in a row because, they were just that dominant. This book paints a very different picture. It talks about the instincts of Casey Stengel. That was a factor for sure. His masterful platooning of players, that was a factor. And how these big three pitchers that were not motivated by ego. They rooted for each other's success. They helped each other. Lopat had a lot to do with it. A natural teacher who became a coach. It's almost like the three of them became one, and they were older pitchers that really helped to set the tone for the entire team. Their families became very close. And so this idea that the Yankees won just because they were the Yankees is perhaps just not the case. Let me read you an excerpt from this book. And of course, we'll turn the camera around. And what I want to do is talk a little bit about the Yankees clinching the pennant in 1951 and show you some cards along the way. Let's see here. In spring training, now this is 1949, where the Red Sox appeared overwhelming, Boston Globe sports writer Harold Keiss, not sure if I'm saying his name correctly, predicted that Boston would win 124 games and lose 30. On opening day, a poll of 112 writers covering Major League Baseball gave their season's predictions. The Red Sox received 70 first-place votes, the Cleveland Indians 37, and the Philadelphia Athletics 4. That left one lonely journalist who voted that the New York Yankees would win the 1949 American League pennant. Let's see here. A poll of 112 sports writers, and only one out of 112, that's less than 1% of them, predicted the Yankees would win the 1949 pennant. And even after the Yankees did win the 1949 American League pennant and the World Series that year, this really did not change the sports writers' views very much. They still felt like Boston and Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians, and the Boston Red Sox were the teams to beat in the American League. They felt that this winning of the World Series and the American League pennant in 1949 was kind of the last gasp of a franchise, the New York Yankees, in decline, but it ended up being the beginning of course, the most epic string of World Series wins ever. So let me turn this camera around, and then we will continue on our journey. Okay, I went ahead and went with the Christmas tree lamp since many of you like that. I know it's after Christmas, but some of you might get some post-holiday blues, and a lot of you really like this lamp, so I thought, what the heck? Well, let me show you a few cards here. Here's one that I've had for a while, and this is the 1952 Topps Allie Reynolds in a 4, but wow. This card is so nice. And let me give you a look at the back. Give you a few cards to look at here. And then here's an Allie Reynolds that I've had for a while. This is the 1954 Bowman in a PSA 6, and this card is absolutely stunning. For some reason, all of my Allie Reynolds cards, for the most part, tend to be really well centered. Let's look at another Allie Reynolds card here. Let's see. This is his second card, 49 Bowman. His rookie would be the 48 Bowman, and this is in an SGC 6. And this might be my least centered Allie Reynolds, but still really nice. Really, really nice card. And I plan to get Allie Reynolds' rookie card at some point. You know, this guy at one point was one vote, a single vote away from getting into the Hall of Fame. Isn't that just crazy? I learned that from Terry, TJ Mack. Terry, I'm trying to think of the name of his channel right now. Anyway, Vic Raschi, he was one of the big three. This is my only Vic Raschi card, 49 Bowman. This is his rookie card, however. Such a beautiful card. And I have another Vic Raschi card coming. It has not been shipped to me yet. I just purchased it yesterday, so that'll double my Vic Raschis. I want to get more of his as time goes on. Well, let me give you those three to look at, and we'll look at some more as we move along here. And now let's talk about the Yankees clinching the pennant in 1951. So on Friday, September 28, the Yankees had a doubleheader against the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium. And again, I'm reading out of the book that I showed you. There were 5 games left in the season, and the Yankees needed 1 win to tie, 2 to clinch. So if they won this doubleheader against the Red Sox at home, then they would clinch the American League pennant. The Red Sox could only play the spoiler because they had already been eliminated. So the Cleveland Indians, who Allie Reynolds had pitched for, and of course he was traded from the Indians to the Yankees at some point. But the Cleveland Indians were the competition now, the only competition remaining. It was the Cleveland Indians and the Yankees battling it out in the last days of the 1951 season. And it was a doubleheader, and again, not against the Indians, but against Boston. And if the Yankees could win both of these games, then, they'd be good to go. They would be American League champions and then have a few days where they wouldn't have to worry. So Boston was not going to roll over. They had Mel Parnell, their ace pitcher, with 18 wins, who would go in the opener of this doubleheader against Allie Reynolds. And Lopat knew that his friend was upset. They had driven to the stadium from New Jersey in silence. Allie was worried about Erlene, that's his wife, not the Red Sox. As he was getting ready to leave the house for the game, Erlene collapsed on the floor in a faint. Libby Lopat, that's Eddie Lopat's wife, came right over and called a doctor. Allie stayed as long as he could, but felt he had to get to Yankee Stadium. It was also American Indian Day across the country, and he was to be the center of the celebration before the game. So they called Allie Chief, but his other nickname was Super Chief. I can't help but believe that, Chief was good, but, they had to take it further and say, no, this guy's the Super Chief. So Allie left Erlene before the doctor had arrived, but of course Libby Lopat was there. Erlene had complained about dizziness for the past week, and Allie now was distraught. How Allie got through the first 2 innings without giving up a hit, he couldn't say. He kept glancing over at the empty seat where his wife normally sat, with pen in hand and sheets of paper, tracking Allie's pitch count. By the way, Erlene would track his pitch count. I believe she was quite an athlete herself, but she would track his pitch count, and the Yankees made use of her data as well. She was concerned about her husband's career, wanted to make sure that, he had longevity and was able to continue in his craft. But when Allie went out to the mound for the top of the third and looked over to the wives section, there was Erlene waving to him with her pitching charts. The doctor diagnosed her with an inner ear infection and let her attend the game. So a charge of energy went through Reynolds, and he went about his business with a happy vengeance. The Yankees were hammering Parnell and had built up an 8-0 lead going into the 7th inning. Allie had walked 3 but had not given up a hit. As the game progressed, he threw harder and harder. He was throwing another no-hitter into the final inning. With 2 out in the 9th inning, he knew he was stepping up into the batter's box. The most feared left-handed hitter in the American League, Ted Williams, whose ego as a hitter knew no limits. Making the final out in a no-hitter would serve as a total humiliation, and he was not about to permit it. So Williams was not about to permit Allie to, humiliate him, that's for sure. And now I realized I need to go get a couple more cards, so I'm going to stop this video and then start a new one right back up. All right, clearly I was not as prepared as I should have been, but Ted Williams is coming up. It's the 9th inning. There are 2 outs, and Allie Reynolds is staring at a no-hitter here, and the first game of a doubleheader that could enable the Yankees to clinch the pennant in 1951. And in this tremendous 3, we have the 48-49 Leaf, Ted Williams, which is so glorious. And then the catcher that day was, the regular catcher, who was Yogi Berra at the time. So let's show a couple of, this is 1951, let's show a couple of 1951 Yogi Berras. In a very good, excellent 4, we have the 51 Topps, first year of Topps. This is probably the best 51 Topps card in terms of, value or player, but I guess that's debatable. And then also the 51 Bowman, which I think is just wow. Such an amazing card in an SGC 2.5. So these I've shown before, one or more times. So let's get these out there. And what the heck, let me show you a new Reynolds that I have not shown you before. From 51, since we're talking about 51, this just, I just got this within the last couple of weeks, and a very good, excellent plus 4.5. Look at the centering on that. Just a tiny bit of toning to enhance its eye appeal. Such a beautiful card, and this is a red back as well. These tend to be a little crinkly on the back, but that's the way they were born. They were born to be crinkly on the back. It's part of their appeal. All right, continuing on with our story. Maybe adjust this just a little bit. So continuing on with our story, Williams always set, making the final out in a no-hitter would serve as a total humiliation of Ted Williams of the Red Sox, and Williams was not about to permit it. Williams always set himself perfectly with a picture stance and smooth stroke. It would be master against master, except the Yankee pitcher was not alone on the mound. Allie had instructed Yogi no fastballs on the first pitch to Williams, then heat. Lopat had told him before the game that the only way to work Williams was to start him with low breaking stuff, then surprise him with the unexpected. Williams was always thinking, always playing mind games with the opposing pitcher. He could outthink anyone except that blanking Lopat. I edited that. Eddie, standing with one foot on the dugout steps next to Stengel and Turner. Jim Turner was the pitching coach of the Yankees, and when Stengel was hired, they hired Jim Turner as well, and basically Stengel left the pitching staff and all of the pitching decisions up to Jim Turner, and Turner stood up to Stengel at times and said, nope, leave this in our hands, and Stengel saw it was going well, so basically all the pitching was determined by Jim Turner, who really was essentially coaching with the big three, with Allie Reynolds, Vic Raschi, and Eddie Lopat. So, Eddie Lopat, standing with one foot on the dugout steps next to Stengel and Turner, was thinking along with Allie. Williams took strike one on a hard-biting curveball down and away. Williams thought Lopat would try to sneak that blankety-blank pitiful fastball past me now. The Indian has been keeping me off him with breaking stuff all day. Now he'll try to get the fastball past me, and I'll be waiting. Williams dug in. All right. I'd say it's about time to show that blanking low pat, one of my favorite cards, the 52 Bowman. I've had this for, a few years. I just absolutely love the colors on this one. By the way, I almost bought a second copy of this. It was a SGC 7.5, and I bid the day before. My high bid was like $100, close to $100. And I thought, well, if somebody outbids me, they outbid me. But I really wanted it. And someone outbid me. Fair enough. Good for them. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to make a strong bid. How about this? The blackback in a BVG 4.5. This, I think I paid like $20 for this, which to me is just a steal. I've had this one for a while as well, and a really, really sharp card. So that's really cool. So where are we going to put this low pat? That's a good question. I don't want to remove anyone else. Well, I'll just move him off to the side. You got to see the low pat. That's good. Okay, so Ted Williams. He's, thinking fastball time. Here's the problem, though. This is not Eddie Lopat's pitiful fastball, because we know that Eddie Lopat did not have fast stuff. He relied on junk, so to speak, a variety of twists and turns in his pitches in different locations, outsmarting the batters, knowing them well, knowing their tendencies. So guess what happened? Reynolds got the sign from Berra and threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball up on the letters of the Red Sox uniform, right in the power wheelhouse of Ted Williams. Williams had no more than a second to react. His extraordinary eyes picked up the rotation and location of the ball instantly, and he began to bring the bat forward. But this was not Lopat's sneaky fastball, which really wasn't that fast. Reynolds' fastball that day was near to being unhittable. Williams ripped at the ball and sent a soaring pop-up into the air between home plate and the Yankee dugout along first base. Berra threw off his mask and looked up at the speck. Hitters like Williams could drive a pop fly literally out of sight. Berra, at this stage of his career, was an agile, accomplished catcher who could handle all aspects of this challenging position, pop-ups included. He picked up the speck, watched it grow larger, camped underneath it, and was ready to make the catch when a gust of wind blew the ball back over his head. Yogi lunged for the ball, and it bounced off the edge of his catcher's mitt, falling to the ground. The crowd groaned. Give Williams a second chance? My God, what have I done? Berra was rubbing his throwing hand. Allie had come over to help with the pop-up if necessary, and when he saw Berra stagger, Reynolds accidentally stepped on Berra's hand and spiked him. Berra, heartsick at having lost his friend's no-hitter, or at least, likely lost his friend's no-hitter, tried to apologize, but Reynolds beat him to it. Don't worry, Yog. We'll get him again. He sensed the misery of his catcher. Williams stepped back in. He had been given a reprieve and was determined to make the best use of it. There was no way he would tolerate being given 2 chances to break up a no-hitter. He was grinding the handle of his bat menacingly. The usually conversational Berra, who loved to distract Williams with chatter behind the plate, squatted in a deep despair, believing he had cost his teammate a no-hitter. Now it was the always profane Williams who was talking to Berra, waiting for Reynolds to get set. You son of a bitch, you had your chance, but you blew it. Berra looked out at Reynolds, thinking about what pitch to call. Then he saw a signal familiar from the earlier project when Allie was calling the pitches for his catcher. See, at first, Allie and Lopat and Rashi, I believe all 3 of them, called the pitches for Berra, but then as Berra got better, he called the pitches. So here, Reynolds was calling the pitch. No, Yogi thought, not that, Allie. But Yogi knew that the look on Reynolds' face said it all. Reynolds started his motion. The look on Reynolds' face. Reynolds could be could be one tough cookie, that's for sure. In fact, I'm not sure if I've shown this one before. Oh, man. In an excellent mint 6, the 55 Bowman Allie Reynolds. Now, he had retired right before the 55 season, but this is cool because it has his full stats, and this card is just so gorgeous for a 6. Half tempted to break it out and spray some furniture polish on it and turn it into a 55 Bowman refractor. But this card is so nice. I guess that would be altering, so I won't do that. This card is so incredibly nice. I'm going to put it right there in front of the Christmas tree for now anyway. There we go. But yeah, check out that look on his face. That look of determination. That card is so sharp and sweet. So Allie now, he called the pitch, not Yogi. And Yogi was like, oh no, not that one. But Allie saw the look on Reynolds' face and knew that Reynolds was determined and he needed to go with the call that Reynolds made. Whatever Williams was expecting from the pitcher, the last thing he thought he would see would be the exact same pitch thrown in the exact same spot with, if possible, more velocity. In other words, that perfect fastball to hit. There was simply no time, not even for a hitter who believed he was the world's greatest, to react. Reynolds unloaded another screamer across the letters of Williams' uniform. Again, with his extraordinary reactions, Williams got the bat moving faster than any other human might have. But on this pitch, he was facing something superhuman. He made contact but barely, and Berra saw immediately that it was another pop-up, as a catcher can detect instantly in almost the same spot. Yogi ripped off his mask and threw it away, then caught sight of the dot just as it reached its apex, hovered for a split second, and then descend. He glued his eyes on that dot, getting gradually bigger. Berra knew he was drifting closer to the Yankee dugout, but he didn't care. If he fell in, he was not going to take his eyes off that ball. He heard Coach Tommy Henrik yell out, "Plenty of room, plenty of room." Oh, Coach Tommy Henrik. Check this out, the 41 play ball. Tommy Henrik, that is in a 3. That is so glorious. I just so love the colors on this card. So the Clutch, he was known as the Clutch, an amazing player, but then he became a coach for the Yankees later on. So we'll just put him there. We'll keep the Reynolds here for now anyway. Okay. So Henrik tells Yogi, you've got plenty of room. You don't have to worry about, falling off into the dugout behind you. Yogi camped under the dot, the ball that is. Watched it become a ball, pounded his catcher's mitt, and squeezed the third out. When he looked down, he was less than a yard from the dugout steps. The Yankees in the dugout were closer and were the first to hug the catcher, delighted that he had gotten his second chance. But no one was happier than Allie, who had been right next to Berra when he made the catch, in case he could help. Reynolds hugged his catcher and delighted in his salvation. That was Reynolds' second no-hitter of the season, and it clinched a tie for the American League pennant. The Yankees jubilantly raced into the clubhouse to celebrate and to talk to the press between games. Stengel was ecstatic. He told Allie, "You can have the rest of the season off." Then he gathered the press around him in his office and kept up his praise of Reynolds. There is one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Starter, reliever, day or night, the great competitor. Imagine Reynolds pitching a no-hitter for the clincher, even though he's handicapped by that bunch of bone splitters in his pitching elbow. It's without parallel. End of Stengel's quote. Well, while we're talking about Allie Reynolds, let me show you this beauty. This was given me by Scott, Reindeer Studios. The 53 Bowman Color Allie Reynolds, and such a beautiful card with the 50th anniversary logo there on their uniforms. And this is a card where I might just pick it up. In graded form at some point when the right one comes along. But it's nice to have this one that's ungraded because it's nice to, be able to enjoy that. And then I can touch and feel it and enjoy the vintage scent of the card, if you will. All right, before we move on, let's show a little bit more low pat. Check this out. This is the low pad that was given to me by many of my hobby friends. This is his rookie card in a 449 Bowman. And this card is so sharp and sweet. However, let's see, where do we want to go here? I think maybe Henrik. We'll move Henrik now. However, some time ago, it's been a few months, I bought another one. It was at auction. It was well-centered, and it was just, it went pretty cheap in a 4 as well. So now I've got 2 of them, and I'm super stoked to have both. And I absolutely plan to keep both of them because, yeah, I think they're both graybacks. But anyway, plan to keep both of them because, I just love both of them. And one, of course, is very special as a gift. And, yeah, I just love them both. So let's see. What else do I want to show you here? Let me show you another. This is a new Allie Reynolds I have not shown. I haven't had that long. Check out the centering on this one, a 5.550 Bowman. Oh, I think the artwork on some of these early Bowmans is just vintage art at its finest. So beautiful. Just amazing centering, as I mentioned. So let's go ahead and put this one over here. All right, we'll put that there. And continuing on, there were smiles all around except in one corner of the clubhouse where Vic Raschi was getting on his game face. Allie had clinched the tie. Vic was preparing to clinch the title, and no one went near him. Even the reporters, hungry for interviews amidst the general mayhem and congratulations, stayed away from him when he had that look on his face. Reynolds, knowing that his friend would want space and privacy, deliberately moved away from his locker next to Vic and gave his interviews on the other side of the clubhouse. Vic sat alone, smoldering and internalizing, while the players got ready for the second game. Now let me just pause here and say, I believe it was when Vic was in the minors that Jim Turner was coaching a minor league team, or at least doing the pitching coaching. I don't remember, but I think he was coaching the entire team. And he basically told Vic, look, you've got to view those hitters as your enemies. You've got to really basically fuel this inner, anger and use it to your advantage. And that's the type of pitcher that Vic Raschi became. We better get Vic out there. This is my only Vic Raschi card, and this is his glorious rookie card, so let's use that one, since that's the one we've got. So continuing on, Reynolds, in one of their many conversations since coming together, had told Vic, you have to learn to despise hitters. So, of course, he was getting the same message he got from Jim Turner. As Vic Raschi sat alone, with dark visage, preparing himself for this ultimate test, he was hearing his friend's advice. Allie and Eddie knew enough to protect him at times like this. One flashbulb popping off would have sent him into a growling fury. Reynolds had to deal with the reporters, but Lopat stayed near Vic and made certain that no one who might not have known better approached him. Then, 20 minutes before the game was scheduled to begin, Jim Turner walked over to the hunched-over bear of a man sitting on a chair in front of his locker and whispered quietly, Vic, it's time. Raschi looked up into a face that reflected as deep an understanding of his feelings as anyone in his life. Jim, Eddie, and Allie, they know me. And then Raschi said, okay, Jim, let's go. The Yankees scored 7 runs in the second inning. Later, DiMaggio hit a 3-run homer, the last of his career during the regular season. Oh, did somebody mention DiMaggio. Oh, yeah. The 1938 Gaudy Joe DiMaggio with cartoons in a pristine 1. Wow, wow, wow. Let's look at the back here. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and move the low pats. And we'll bring out DiMaggio in that second game that clinches the pennant. He hits a 3-run homer. Notice the last of his career during the regular season. He still played in the 1951 World Series. Vic struck out 7, walked 1, and pitched a complete game victory, winning his 21st game 11-3. The Yankees had won their 3rd consecutive pennant against the odds. Yes, the sports writers still keep thinking it's not going to be the Yankees, it's going to be the Cleveland Indians, the Boston Red Sox, or sometimes even other teams. Rashi and Reynolds, for the 8th time that season, had beaten the Red Sox. New York finished the season 5 games ahead of Cleveland. No regular position player among the Yankees hit 300. No one drove in 100 runs on the Yankees that year. No one hit 30 home runs on the Yankees that year. In fact, Berra was the only Yankee to hit more than 15. DiMaggio, his last year in the league, finished with the lowest batting average of his career, .263, having played in only 116 games. The 19-year-old Mickey Mantle hit .267 in only 96 games and still managed to lead the team in strikeouts with 74. Berra was the offensive leader with 27 home runs and only 88 runs batted in. There were several more potent offenses in the league. The Yankees averaged barely 4 runs a game for the last month of the season. There was little doubt why the Yankee team prevailed. Lopat and Rashi each won 21 games. Oh man, we've got to get Lopat back up here. Here's Lopat as a coach later on. This was given to me by Matt and Ty, the card story. Such a beautiful card in a near mint to mint 8. But let's go ahead and let's use this Lopat rookie card here. Got to have Lopat there. Got to have the big 3. Let's see. So Lopat and Rashi each won 21 games. Reynolds won 17, saved 7 more to lead the club, threw 7 shutouts to lead the league, and pitched 2 no-hitters. But for the first time in their season together, Lopat bested both of his teammates in lowest earned run average. Eddie's gaudy 21-9 record was accomplished with a frugal 2.91 ERA, better than Vic's 21-10 with a 3.27 ERA, and even Reynolds' 3.05 ERA to go with his 17-8 win-loss record. But they didn't care about individual records. They shared in each other's pride and success. One could find few more graphic examples in modern baseball history of a team with relatively ordinary talent and dependency on just 3 pitchers. They were responsible for more than half of all the innings hurled by the Yankees staff. Let me show you one more card I have not shown, and that would be, this was given to me by my friend Joe, 4 Soft Corners. This is the 52 Burke Ross, such a beautiful card. There's one on eBay right now that I might buy before I post this video and have a graded copy, as well as this ungraded wonderful gift from a friend. And if I go that route, I'll be happy to have both. If not, I'm super stoked to have this one. Such a beautiful card. Show you the back there. So I know this has definitely been longer. Anyone who's made it this far, thank you so much. I just wanted to kind of lay the case there, show some cards, some of my new cards, and also, lay the case there for what these big 3 pitchers meant to the Yankees dynasty of 1949 to 53, and how throughout that dynasty, It was not the general held belief that the Yankees were dominant. Far from it. Thank you, everyone, for sharing in my joy. I hope you had a wonderful and peaceful time in the Vintage Sanctuary. Take care, my friends.